We are in the building, y'all. What's going on, man? Joel, sorry I'm late, bub. Was running a little bit behind here, trying to do an alternative side of my stream here, so that way I had to kind of get a little bit of a setup set here. But thanks for joining tonight. Welcome to Buff Sense, where style meets strength and every fragrance packs a punch. Drop a one in the chat if you can hear me. I think I got one person in here, and maybe Joel. Thank you so much for your support, man. Drop a one in the chat if I can be heard. What's going on, family? What's going on, family? Let me know if I can be heard. Drop a one in the chat if I can be heard. Drop a one in the chat if I can be heard. Welcome in, welcome in. Drop a one in the chat if I can be heard. Yes, sir, Dutch. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in, brother. Uh, Drop a one. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you, I appreciate that. We're gonna go ahead and get started in a minute here, fellas. I'm gonna discuss basically my topic of discussion for today. Consists of a short that I actually dropped. So if you're not familiar with the YouTube short that I posted earlier, I think I posted it about 7 o'clock Central Time. I'm gonna put it in the chat here. So feel free to take a look. Feel free to check it out at your own leisure and give me your feedback. And basically, that's just what I'm going to be discussing today in regards to finding fresh fragrances for the heat. You know, like the fresher fragrances more so than anything. And I have I think I have 12. Hold on, I got 11 fragrances here that are on all ends of the spectrum, from budget to designer niche, that I'm wearing right now, that I feel as if are very versatile and they work well in high heat situations. So, but I'm going to drop. See, I'm going to drop this in the chat. This is how we'll do this. So, yeah, check out the short. I don't know if it'll let me pin it. It should let me pin it. Okay. So check out my YouTube short for today, which consists of finding fragrances that work well in high heat situations, or well transitional fragrances that are work well from spring into summer. I think let me see something. Let's remove one of these. That's how we'll do that. Let's try it one more time. One more time. I don't know what happened here. There we go. All right. And while everybody is entering the room here, drop your fragrance of the day, your scent of the day. Let me know your fragrance that you wore, your fragrance options that you wore for today, and drop a fragrance that you have in mind that could be a great fragrance for high heat situations, such as anything 80 degrees on up. As of right now, it's been like 85 where I'm at, so it's been kind of hot, and we haven't had much cloud, cloudy days, mini cloudy days, but it's been fairly sunny where we've been here, where I'm at. I'm located in the Midwest, so. But yeah, while y'all entering in, drop that in the chat, man. I appreciate that, Dutch. I appreciate that. Constructive criticism is always welcome. Like if you have any suggestions or anything, that could always help me be better at what I do. My overall take on it is to provide a relative perspective, um, that anyone coming into the space or anyone that's never heard of the FragCom or anything associated with fragrance can gravitate towards, like just entry level information just to help people out, just help everyday people out, because I didn't have these types of resources when I started my fragrance journey. So, but yeah, just watch the short. He said, just watch the short. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, so basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. So most fresh fragrances smell good. However, most of them don't stand out. So and if you've ever bought one that disappeared in like 30 minutes or an hour, you already know what I'm talking about. So tonight we're gonna talk about choosing the best fragrance for your spring and summer collection, rotational pieces, what actually works, what doesn't, and how to pick the right one for you. He says, all right. So we'll go ahead before start getting started here. We'll go ahead and take a look at the chat. So and as everyone's entering, drop your scent of the day and check out my. I don't want you to leave, so I'm not gonna actually have the YouTube short up long. Honestly, I don't think I should have it up honestly at all because it's gonna force you to leave and then you'll be coming back. But he says, my center day was Smoky Jazz. Whew, man, Dutch, you always doing it, man. You always doing it, man. Always doing it. Is it Premier Perfumes? Always doing it. He said, what do you think? Jin Song says, what do you think about Byredo, Balder Freak Absolute? Balder Freak is amazing, actually. I had a chance to smell Balder Freak at a Byredo boutique. That was pretty awesome, man. Like that was quite a great, I would say it was a great experience. I haven't got my nose on the Absolute, but I have smelled the Eau de Parfum. And that smells really great, man. That's actually on my list of fragrances to grab. So it's a really great smell. It's just the one thing about it is that it does. I would say this is something that is known for a lot of Byredo's, not necessarily entry level fragrances. They're lacking in longevity. Um, they project a bit, but they lack in longevity. So you may have to reapply. Um, oh yeah, oh yeah. Sensei Joel says, Ginsong, great smell, but doesn't last. See, get Suspiro Contralto instead. Same smell, lasts longer. Contralto is really nice. That is really nice. See, but even with Contralto lasting longer, man, I still enjoy the scent of Balde Freak more. Like, I'm one of those types of people. Like, if it doesn't last long, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with overspraying. I'm perfectly fine with overspraying and reapplying throughout the day because the scent is what really makes the man. Well, the man makes the scent. However, the scent is an extension of the man. So kind of helps you. It helps uplift your day. It could change some of the vibrations and some of the thought process that you may have. So my scent is very inclusive in my lifestyle. So he said, Joel says, I got a bunch of high heat fragrances. that smell different. I'm a sensei for a reason. Yes, you are. Indeed, you are. You are the sensei for a reason. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being you. You've been a very supportive pillar within the fragrance community, man. You support everyone. I've noticed. Like I think we were both on the same on Kaleidoscope Scent Index about an hour ago. So yeah, that was a great stream he had as well. Jen Song says JPG Paradise Garden today. Great choice. Great choice. Paradise Garden is nice, man. I'm a fan of Paradise Garden. Um, as far as a preference, I'm leaning more towards like the Rasasi Hawash Tropical. I like that one a little bit more. Only reason why is because of the coconut aspect of it, and the sweetness is a little bit toned down to me, to my nose. But then again, that was based upon just me testing it out, and I don't own Paradise Garden as well. So, but I do have two new scents coming in. I have Bond Number Nine Centerpiece Natural, and I have a Creed Virgin Island Water Blue Cap. So, all right. So I'll go ahead and put a poll in the chat in regards to like I'll say fragrance, the fragrance notes that you see fit the most common fragrance notes that you see. Um, let's see. We not even gonna get into that. Actually, that's how we gonna do that. But yeah, like first, like, I see everyone started to drop their scents of the day. Thank you so much for that. But I definitely see you. So fresh or sweet in the heat. So what are you all choosing in regards to that? Like, are you choosing fresh or are you choosing sweet? All right, drop. Let me know what y'all think. So, are you going with fresh or sweet fragrances for heat? I would say anything. My hand smells like blue Taliban. That's crazy. Heat or sweet or yeah, like I said, sweet or fresh fragrances for higher heat situations. I didn't choose to include citrusy fragrances, more so high citrus, because the majority of fragrances that you'll get within spring and summer will include some sort of citrus. So fresh or sweet is what the question is. So we'll see how long that goes on. We'll let that ride for a little bit here. Um, yeah. So to me, I do find an issue with it. So here's the issue: most fresh fragrances, they're actually built to last. Built. I'm not necessarily built to last. They're built to smell clean. But not all of them are actually built to perform or stand out. Honestly, to that based upon my nose. I'm gonna break it down. So a lot of them smell similar. A lot of them don't last in heat, and some of them just don't even get noticed because that heat kind of evaporates the fragrance. So, and that's why people say fresh fragrances are boring, but I don't believe that to be always true. You know, so this is where I would say it gets interesting. It's not just fresh. You know, like the fragrance itself has layers to it. It's do you want a citrus or a clean opening, but something underneath it, such as lavender, which provides a smooth, clean, and calming feelings, more aromatic, or the vetiver route. With that vetiver route to it, that kind of promotes that dry earthiness. One thing I do love about vetiver, and I believe that a lot of these fragrances that I have right here have vetiver in it, is that they're more mature. It promotes a more mature fragrance. Like I'm not young. I'm in my 30s, so I'm not gonna say I'm old. I'm not gonna say I'm young. I'm kind of right there, But I'm on the other side of 30, so I'm pushing 40. But it's just if it has that presence earlier on, it makes it a good scent to me. Like in the heat, that first hour, man, it just matters the most. And if it doesn't hit early, I don't believe it's actually doing its job. Like fresh fragrances, they actually resonate on my skin more than sweet fragrances do. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I think I have thick skin anyway, so that's probably why. Like one of the like the vast majority of these fragrances punch on my skin. Like they punch like Mike Tyson in the ninth, like Mike Tyson in the first round. Like he not going, you know. Anyways, um, so what we're gonna do is, you know, I'm gonna do one more. Looks. Let's see. Let's take a look at the poll here. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. All right. So before my next poll, it looks as if fresh fragrances won. 100%. Everyone voted for fresh fragrances, in which I agree. Great choice, y'all. Like fresh fragrances do reign supreme, in my opinion, for as a comparison to sweeter fragrances, especially when dealing with high heat situations. Like I've had a situation in which I've worn sweeter fragrances and they did come off a bit cloying and a little bit off-putting to the people who are around me. So situationally speaking, I believe that could be, you know, kind of a double-edged sword when wearing sweet fragrances in the heat. You just have to. It has to be really situational. Now, if you're indoors, totally different story. But if you're traveling outdoors, moving around, things of that such, it definitely can come off a bit cloying. And in the meantime, give me 1 second. Let me plug up my computer before it dies on me. And we'll get to comments in a second here, everyone. All right, give me 1 second. Let me plug this up. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back in business. All right, thanks for being patient with me, everyone. So we back in business. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and circle back into the chat and take a look here before we get into these fragrances. I know everybody want to get into these fragrances, and I'm gonna tell y'all all these fragrances that I got are high heat or some high heat. I would say, like from designer clones, as you say, Middle Eastern fragrances, higher end designer. I got a couple niche fragrances here as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this chat. All right, so Jinson says, I'm picking up Wild Vetiver by Creed. Great choice. Great choice. I love Wild Vetiver. I actually have a decant of it. It's a really good fragrance, man. That's a good choice. I like the rose in that fragrance, man. I like the rose in it. Miller Man says, can I smell that latent spray a little bit? Yeah, well, I'll get this on Tester Strip in a minute, man. This is my one of my favorites actually. It's one of my go-tos. This is actually one of my higher end work scents that I wear. So Orpheon EDT is fire too. So yes, I thought about Ginsong. I thought about actually grabbing Orpheon EDT. Memo is yeah, like Memo. I thought about grabbing that as well as Ocean Leather. So I think I'm debating on the two right now. I just got my wife Madurai. I just got my wife Madurai. She loves that. She is in love with that. Like she's like hesitant on even spraying it. All right. So Joel says my favorite for high heat, Bois 1920 Ultramarine. See, you've been saying that for a while though. Like that Ultramarine. That's a really good one though. Bunch of citrus in the touch with the touch of tea. That is a really good one, man. See what kind of makes me kind of fearful is the tea note with it being high heat. Citrus usually citrus usually evaporates fairly easy, but if it depends on the actual the concentration of that fragrance, like on my skin, it depends on the concentration because if it's an EDT and if it's high in citrus and it has tea in it, you might not smell it on me after 2 hours of wearing it because me just sweating, me just being out, you might not just. It depends. I have to really get delve deep into that fragrance. So Jenson says Bergamot 22 by Le Labo is also great for heat. See, I have yet to smell Bergamot 22. I've smelled pretty much all of Le Labo's flagship fragrances, other than Bergamot 22. I'm gonna have to get my nose on that, man. Definitely gonna have to get my nose on that. So yeah. All right. So by the way, if your live goes at 100 plus people, all of a sudden in the chat goes green. It's a YouTube channel that raids small channels. They're good people. They call themselves Goat Raiders. Just a FYI. Awesome. 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 That's pretty cool. They call themselves Goat Raiders. That's awesome, man. Like that's very, I mean, good as far as supporting, because the more people you have in your lives, the more notoriety you get. But everyone, drop a like, and then drop a like on the video here. That way, it kind of promotes the video and YouTube's algorithm here, so other people can be aware of what's going on tonight, man. Diego says, "Buff, what's up? Salute my brother. Good evening. Good evening. Drop your center today in the chat. Drop your center today in the chat. We're actually having a live discussion tonight. It's actually a pretty active and engaging discussion, man, and I'm grateful for everyone joining me tonight. All right. Okay. So what we're gonna go ahead and do here, we're gonna go ahead and get into these fragrances, y'all. Starting with like one of my workhorse fragrances. Now, this fragrance everyone should know. It's fairly fair. I would say it's fairly entry level in regards to designer space. Actually, I need to re up because this little puny bottle isn't gonna do anything for me, honestly. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into first fragrance of the night from the house of Versace, Dylan Blue. And don't mind my cap. Don't mind none of that. This is all. I'm about to get a new bottle, another bottle soon, like within the next few days. So, well, it depends. It depends where we sit at. But that bottle, this has been ran through, y'all. This is only a 50 ml. Um, this is like one of my first fragrances, but this is like my third 50 ml. So this is one of those fragrances that spicy, blue, versatile. You can wear this anywhere, honestly. Like this is one of those fragrances that is meant for everyday usage, you know, and for the value, you get quality out of the value. So with it being such I would say a cheaper designer fragrance, you definitely get the value out of it, and the longevity is really good, man. This is a really good fragrance, y'all. Like if you haven't gotten your nose on Dylan Blue, I don't know where you been, but you need to go ahead and get your nose on Dylan Blue, man. But this is like usually recommend this fragrance to like teenagers, honestly, that are wanting to get a more mature, versatile blue scent. Like I usually recommend it to them because it seems to resonate a little bit more. All right. And another one of my new scents. This is one of my new scents in that I've been wearing. I've been actually utilizing this as a workhorse. So I've been wearing this quite often. Comes from the House of Prada, and this is a Prada Paradigm. So this fragrance is really nice, man. This is a good, clean, everyday scent. This is perfect for the office. It's not too intrusive. It's a very great conversation starter, honestly, because of the powdery. I would say the slight powdery sweet nature of the fragrance. It's not overly sweet, but yet it's not overly citrus bearing. Um, it's not too fresh. It's not too fresh. It sits like kind of right in the middle. Like this is a good medium fragrance. You can wear this pretty much any day, every day. You can daily this. This is a good signature scent. Like this smells really nice, y'all. This smells really nice. I will have to say. Yeah, this is a good one now. I have to get this on scent strip. On a tester strip. I love this fragrance, y'all. Let's see. All right. Yeah, so this is definitely along the lines of your fresh, spicy fragrance, man. So the top notes of this fragrance has bergamot, musk, has geranium, two different types of geranium, bourbon geranium and rose geranium, with benzoin and pearl balsam and gaiac wood. So this is just a fragrance that's pretty much designed to challenge any conventional norms that you would say in perfumery. So when I say that, I mean by this fragrance, it stands out, but yet it blends in with the people who like it, if that makes sense. But yeah, let's get this on. Yeah, this is nice, man. It's a nice one. It's sweet, it's subtle. It's sweet, it's subtle, it's very calming, honestly. The pearl balsam, you smell that. The benzoin, you get it. But you mostly I mostly get like the bergamot geranium combo. A little bit of wood, very subtle woods in it, but yet a masculine scent. It's definitely a masculine scent. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so moving on to another workhorse of mine. I actually started to create a dent in this fragrance, and I like this fragrance, man. This is a kiwi forward fragrance from the house of Coach Green for Men. This fragrance is really nice. It's a really good workhorse, especially for the spring and early summer months. I wouldn't wear this in extreme high heat simply because it is kind of sweet. Um, this fragrance it is kind of sweet, so I definitely would kind of be weary on wearing this in higher heat situations. So the main notes behind the fragrance would be kiwi, bergamot, rosemary, geranium, cedar, and moss. But you definitely get the prominent kiwi note in this. So this is, as you would say for Parfums de Marly, like they consider this, you would consider this a cheap Sedley, not cheap Sedley, a cheap Greenlee, cheap Greenlee. But I don't think it smells like Greenlee, but a lot of people say it kind of smells reminiscent to Greenlee, like a budget friendly Greenlee. But yeah, this is a good one too, man. Check this out, check that one out if you haven't. I don't want to spray that one, and I don't want to spray the next one either, because the next one is kind of nuclear. But it's really nice, man. Like this is actually a good scent if it wasn't so strong on my skin, honestly. Like this fragrance comes from the house of Dumont. This is Nitro Elixir, and this is Dumont's take on the YSL Myself Absolute. This one is it's like an apple cardamom forward fragrance, but it's mostly known for that orange blossom that you get out of it. Orange blossom on this fragrance is really nice. It sits well on my skin. It just punches like it was multiple occasions in which I thought that I couldn't smell this fragrance, but the entire room smelled me. So this fragrance does punch pretty hard, and I got quite a bit of a little bit of a dent in there, y'all. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm starting to get a little dent in there. It's getting down below the leather. But this is a really nice fragrance, man. Like it's very versatile, strong projection, beast mode CIs. It's definitely a mass appealing scent. You know, it's definitely a mass appealing scent. This will be your compliment getter. This might be my scent of the day for tomorrow, since it's Friday. We're gonna see. Fragrance Friday. We're gonna see. All right, and then the next one is I got all three of my white floral fragrances in a row. I'm a sucker for white florals, orange blossom. Um, yeah, orange blossom in particular. I'm a sucker for it. So we're gonna go with another white floral fragrance, which comes from the house of Latafa. This is Fakar Gold, as they call Fakar Extrait, and this fragrance is kind of within the wheelhouse of the 1 million Parfum line. The 1 million line, the Parfum iteration of the 1 million. This one definitely is heavy on the white florals. It's a tuberose forward fragrance, so tuberose has to be very particular in fragrances, otherwise it will be off-putting to the nose. Um, so the notes behind this fragrance would be tuberose, solar notes, artemisia, amber, cashmere, leather, and labdanum. So definitely white floral forward and sweet. Definitely white floral forward and kind of sweet, but not too strong. So this is a very subtle fragrance. This is actually a good fragrance for the spring. This and another is one of my dailies. You know, I think I talked about this on the previous stream. Comes from the house of Afnan, and that's Supremacy Collector's Edition. So that collector's edition is a banger. It's a banger, reminiscent of that Creed Absolute Aventus Absolute DNA. White floor heavy, pineapple, oak moss, a little bit of birch, if I'm not mistaken. You definitely get that reminiscent profile. This will last you all day long, um, and it projects in a more masculine way. Like this fragrance to get you definitely compliments. To get you compliments for sure. Like this is a heavy compliment, mass appealing fragrance, just based upon the scent profile itself. It's great. It's great. But yeah, check this out if you haven't. This is comes from the house of Afnan. This is a Supremacy Collector's Edition. All right, so moving forward, we're gonna get into some designers. We'll start with like a more prominent designer. I believe I believe this to be another one of my workhorses that I wear quite often, and this comes from the house of Prada. So we got Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Toilette, and I call this the CEO. Call this the CEO. When I'm in my suits, when I'm dressed casual, I usually wear this fragrance to the office. This is a really great office friendly fragrance. You would think with it being the name being ocean, it would be aquatic. This is not an aquatic fragrance. It is fresh, but it's not aquatic. It's aquatic and woody. It's aquatic woody, and it has a touch of sweetness in it from the ambers. But this fragrance really sets you in that realm, you know, of getting things done, man. Especially in the office setting. It's aromatic. The notes behind the fragrance consist of bergamot, pink pepper, artemisia, lavender, iris, sage, suede, saffron. Base notes of musk, caramel, Haitian vetiver, and patchouli. As stated earlier, fresh fragrances that are good for high heat usually include vetiver or lavender, either of the two. It's usually one or the other or both in compare as a combination. The fragrance is really youthful in a sense. Prada, they know what they're doing when it comes to their iris blends, I would say. Like their blends are pretty good in the majority of their fragrances that have iris in it. Soapy fragrance, shower gel, fresh and clean, man. You know, but the suede in this fragrance on the dry down, CEO, I'm telling you. But yeah, from the house of Prada, Luna Rossa, Ocean, EDT. All right, and moving forward, this is my Dundada. This is like one of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. Um, I hold this fragrance with high regard. It definitely sits on that on my I'll say it definitely sits on my Mount Rushmore of fresh fragrances because it's not necessarily fresh at the same time. Fragrance is addictive. It's warm. It's one of those fragrances that bring you in, bring people in around you. So we'll go ahead with OG. So we have the CFO, call that the CFO, Prada Luna Rosa Ocean. Now we got the CEO, Bleu de Chanel Parfum, CEO fragrance. I'm telling you, fragrance notes consist of lemon zest, bergamot, mint, artemisia. You notice the artemisia in a lot of these fragrances. Lavender, pineapple, geranium, sandalwood, cedar, amberwood, iso e super, and tonka bean. Now, y'all can't tell me that that's not a lovely combination. This fragrance is very high quality, sophisticated. It's rich. It has a definitely elegant scent profile to it with some zesty citrus, the depth to it with the woods. It's very mass appealing, very high regard, versatile, especially for those who, it's very versatile for those who are on the mature side. This is, in my opinion, I believe this to be better than the L'Exclusive. Still, to this day, this reigns supreme. You know, it's a polished fragrance. I believe that this could be along their lines of niche, closer towards the niche. It leans niche from that scent profile. It's just that sandalwood. Oh, man, this fragrance, yeah, this is a good one, y'all. I'm gonna have to spray this one. I gotta be careful though. Be careful on the sprays on this one. Ooh wee. Hands getting all. Yeah, man. This is a good one. A lot of people say it's redundant if you own the eau de parfum. It's not redundant, man. I own the eau de parfum. I wear this over that any day. Eau de parfum is a little bit more versatile, I would say. However, it's based upon the person wearing the fragrance, the situation that you're in, and the temperature. Like, honestly speaking, like, yeah, this might be my scent of the day for tomorrow, y'all. I don't know. I'm stuck in between the lines right now. Yeah. It just doesn't, this one doesn't project as heavily as the eau de toilette and the eau de parfum, I would say. But I think that this one is a bit, it's definitely more mature of a fragrance, and it's definitely fitting for that masculine man, that you can wear a suit with it. You can do white t-shirt with this one. Honestly, you can white tee it out in some jeans, but who wears jeans? I just thought about it. Do y'all still wear jeans? Let me know. All right, so needless to say, Bleu de Chanel, the parfum. All right, so moving on to the last two fragrances of the night, y'all. Last two fragrances of the night consist of two fragrances that I'm not gonna say that I normally wear. One of them was my fragrance of the day for today. So the first fragrance is a citrus, woody, aromatic forward fragrance. Coming from the house of Parfums de Marly, we have Cassius. Parfums de Marly Cassius. Cassius is a very citrus heavy fragrance. The prominent notes behind this fragrance is known for the grapefruit black currant opening. Like, it's very fresh, it's uplifting, it's invigorating of a fragrance. Once it starts to transition, you start to get the vetiver and you get a little bit of orange to it. You get the vetiver and orange, and then once it dries down into like a cashmere, wood, ambergris, and then it has a little bit of resinous nature to it with the balsam fir. This does have cedar dry down and the woody cedar woody dry down and some tonka bean to provide some sweetness to it. But this fragrance is very revitalizing. I would say this is a modern interpretation of grapefruit wrapped up in fruity accents in that vetiver to kind of put some edge to it. That vetiver promotes the harmony of the fragrance, I would say. Yeah, I would say this really performs well in high heat. Like, today was hot. It was very hot out. And I think I did maybe 5 sprays on this. 5 sprays. And out of those 5 sprays, it lasted the majority of the day. Like, I refreshed after the gym. I threw 5 sprays on after the gym, so technically 10 sprays total for the day. Um, yeah, technically 10 sprays total for the day. So I went 3 on my neck, 2 on my chest. That was it, and we were rocking and rolling. But yeah, it definitely performs great in high heat. Very versatile for the spring and summer, man. This is a good office friendly fragrance. It's very good for the office. Upscale, compliment getter. And it does have a bit of a strong projection to it. And the sillage can fill a room. So you got to kind of be wary on the sprays. It can be a little bit beast mode. All right. But yeah, from the house of Parfums de Marly, we have Persis. Good fragrance, y'all. And I barely tapped into this. This daggone, it's too expensive, man. Like I don't know. I'm very selective in the fragrances that I pick, but like this fragrance, I think it came out a couple years ago, and I just really started cracking it out. So I wore it a little bit last spring, but this spring and summer, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wear it more because I like it, man. I'm starting to become more fond of vetiver fragrances, more fond of grapefruit as far as the notes, but yeah, man. All right, so moving forward, last but not least, this is my office scent. This is like basically everyone in the office knows me for wearing this scent anyway. This is just one of those scents in which it's a staple in the fragrance community. You typically know it when you smell it. Um, Fragrance is warm, spicy, fresh, spicy, woody. It's vanilla. It's aromatic. It has some aromatics to it. So coming from the house of Parfums de Marly as well, we have Layton. Now, Parfums de Marly Layton top notes consist of apple, lavender, bergamot, and mandarin orange, with the middle notes consisting of geranium, violet, and jasmine. Base notes being vanilla, cardamom, sandalwood, pepper, gaiac wood, patchouli, coumarin, and amber max, which is their take on an amber fix or an ambroxan style molecule combination that kind of promotes some sweetness in the dry down. So this is a mass appealing scent. Like this is very high compliment getting fragrance. It lasts all day for me. It's very addictive. The spicy nature to it is very addictive, but I'm more so fond of the apple opening. Fresh apple opening. Dries down with the vanilla apple. Oh, this is great, man. This is niche quality with that designer feel to it. Like it's definitely just like Cassis it's a heavy projector. It lasts all day. Versatile as well. I mostly wear this fragrance in transitional seasons, usually fall and spring. I usually don't really wear it in the winter or the summer, simply because I have kind of, I would say, an extensive collection. So I got kind of a bit of different fragrances to pick from that I prefer over it. Like fall, of course, fall and winter, you gotta bust that. I mean, if you don't know about Altair, I mean, I don't know where you've been at, but yeah. But yeah, from the house of Parfums de Marly, this is one of my signatures. This is actually one of my the office signature for me is Layton. All right, so we'll go ahead and get into the chat here and do a little bit of a discussion. Let's see. All right, so we'll go ahead and check in with everybody here. All right, so I missed quite a bit here. So what I miss out on, man? What I miss out on? The Knicks lost. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that, Dutch. Are you? Oh. All right. All right. This is crazy. This playoffs is crazy, man. This first round, crazy. We got the Hawks beating the Knicks, being up 2-1 in the series. Now, Cleveland is actually losing by 17 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter to the Toronto Raptors. What is going on? What is going on? and the Nuggets are losing by 10 in the second quarter. So well, they taking all your money if y'all some betting folks. They taking all your money this year. So taking all your money. All right, so let's get back into the chat. Let's get back into this fragrance talk, man. Enough about sports right now. All right, so let's see. Diego says my Ducks tied the series yesterday. Joel, you're an Oilers fan. Diego, yeah, he's Montreal all day, man. Montreal all day. Kicks Griffey, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Appreciate the support. All right, so let's see. Scuba Steve said, "What's going on, Buff and chat? What's up, Scoob? Welcome in." Diego says, "I haven't worn Dylan Blue in a while. Something about it, I couldn't stand it anymore. It might be that pepper for you, Diego. Honestly, that pepper can be a little bit off-putting. If it depends on, it depends on factors. Like if this is a fragrance that you've been wearing for a while, you could get nose blind to it, and you might not even enjoy it. So." All right, so Catholicism is truth. Says Jesus loves you so much that he died for your sins on the cross and rose again 3 days later, and he wants you to return to his one true holy apostolic Catholic Church. Amen. Amen to that. Willie, oh yeah. Yep. Diego says my cousin Daily Prada, Luna Rosa Ocean EDT. All right, Mr. Clark, welcome in. Center that day, LPO3, wooden face. Yes. Lay Persona. Good choice. Good choice. So BDC is a classic. Yes, definitely so Dutch. All right. I think we've made it just about to the end. So let's see. Sylvie says purse is underrated. Sup, my brother? Yes, definitely underrated fragrance, man. The vetiver, grapefruit, black currant for me. Like I'm a sucker for it, man. I'm all for it. He said if you're liking vetiver, you should try Sultan vetiver from Nishane. That is that and vetiver essential well that I need to get my nose on. But I don't want to have too many vetivers. Diego says playoffs are a whole different game. Oh yeah, vetiver essential well is very good. Yes. So my Celtics lost Tuesday to the 76, but we'll come back. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking at vetiver essential well more than anything, but anyways, we'll go ahead and we'll get ready to close on out. So this leads me to say, y'all, this is what it comes down to. Fresh fragrances aren't the problem. The problem is just picking the right fragrance for you. Next time we might get into fresh fragrances that actually last or fresh fragrances that fail in the heat. Because some of those fragrances, like this one, this one right here, Acquadigio Profondo. This is an honorable mention for me. It's a good fragrance. It just doesn't last like I expected. Like when I'm in high heat, it does kind of evaporate on my skin. However, I do have fragrance alternatives that smell just as, if not just as better, if not just as good as this fragrance. So I definitely keep this in the collection. About halfway through this big bottle, but I think I got to back up with this one. So and it's discontinued, so I didn't want to kind of put this one out there because it is discontinued. But needless to say, I appreciate everyone pulling up. Stay sharp, stay confident. Make sure your fragrance actually shows up in the heat. Utilize some of these fragrances as a good reference point. Next time we might talk about some of these high-end designer oils that I got. Well, fragrance oils that I have. And I got quite a bit to pick from here. I actually just moved all of them down here. But yeah, man, thank you so much for joining tonight. We'll go ahead and wrap up tonight. We'll go ahead and wrap up tonight. We'll check back in possibly Saturday for Saturday Night Live, and we'll have another fragrance talk. But this is Buff Sense, where style meets strength, and every fragrance packs a punch. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.